Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Swan, President of the Board of the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our 2023 annual meeting. The meeting is hereby called to order, and I recognize a quorum of at least 30 members. I think we have well over that, which is great. It's so wonderful to see so many of you here. The first order of business, once this is a business meeting, is to approve the minutes from last year's annual meeting. They're up on our website on the annual meeting page. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Margaret Wilson moves. Jeff Nelson seconds. All in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand. Anybody opposed? 81. The minutes pass. And I also just want to let you know that this meeting is being recorded. We are so glad you're here. This meeting is a milestone in a few ways, two of which are, it's our first fully in-person annual meeting since 2019. It's great to be back in the room with you. And it's our first annual meeting since BTLT and CREA, the Cat River Education Alliance, merged into one united organization. We've made great progress. We have made great progress in merging well, as we like to say, and you'll learn more about that in the presentations that staff will be making this evening. What a joy it is to be gathered here in person as one organization. Before we get started, I want to, wait, I'm supposed to do it every time. Okay, here we go, one more. Before we get started, I wanted to say that the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust acknowledges that our work takes place on the traditional land of the Wabanaki people. We recognize that these lands were not given up freely, but taken by Europeans through forced displacement. This displacement caused cultural and physical devastation to Indigenous people with repercussions that continue to this day. We honor and respect the Wabanaki people who have stewarded the lands and natural resources in our area for generations. We affirm our responsibility to build meaningful relationships with our Wabanaki neighbors and caring for these lands now and into the future. We understand that this statement does not rectify the lasting harms experienced by the Wabanaki people. We recognize that we have much work to do to create a more inclusive conservation community. This acknowledgement is an essential beginning. I'd like to begin with some thank yous. First, many thanks to the law firm of Peabody, our event sponsor for this evening. Nomad Maine for the space, staff support, and drinks. Wild Oats for dessert treats. To you, our members, donors, and volunteers who make all of our work possible, thank you. I also want to acknowledge Angela Twitchell, our former executive director, who unfortunately isn't here. She was going to be, but she wasn't feeling well. Her own side of caution and stay home. And many of you know she is now working just across the river as director of the Maine Land Trust Network. We miss her, but are grateful that she's close by, still working to promote conservation and the work of local land trusts in Maine like ours. We appreciate all she's done over the past 2 decades to help BTLT grow into the robust, mature land trust it is today. Thank you, Angela. Now onto our program. Here's a rundown of the agenda for the events. No, I don't dare do that. I was going to switch these, but that would be very bad. Lydia's glowering at me. I wouldn't dream of it, Lydia. Now onto our program. Here is a rundown of the agenda for the evening. First, our treasurer, Jamie Tatham, will give a brief overview of BTLT's finances, and then our governance committee chair, Ralph Fessenden, will lead us through the rest of the business portion of the evening, which is the election of officers and directors. And then our staff will update us on what BTLT has been up to over the past year. You can see the various areas that we're going to learn about. There'll be an intermission in the middle. And then I'll rejoin you at the end for a last bit of important land trust news. And then we strongly encourage you to stick around to enjoy food, drink, and a chance to talk to our staff and your fellow land trust members. And perhaps to pick up some nice BTLT merchandise. Julia will be meeting you at that table over there, and she has lots of nice things. They're really pretty some wonderful things. You know, I have to say the orange hat is indispensable this time of year. I would pick one up if I were you. Next, I'll turn the floor over to Treasurer Jamie Tatham.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Start this off with the exciting finance report. I know everyone's favorite. Can't hear me. Okay, thanks. Well, you didn't miss my exciting opening. We're going to open with an exciting finance report. I'll start off. I want to tell you three things about the organization. Before I jump into those, I just want to tell you that the organization is in a sound financial position. We're in a good spot. And looking back at the last year, and actually part of the recent past, there's really three things I wanted to go over. First, from an operational standpoint, this past year was unremarkable, and so far that all of our expenses were really right where we thought they would be, and it's just a really clean operating year, which is something you really want when you're just trying to manage finances. So that was great. The second thing is in our recent history or past, we're merging with Korea. So that's a lot of financial information that is coming together, and we're integrating those things together. So staff, some other folks have been working on that. So that work is going forward. And then the last thing is a remarkable event that took place this last year where we received a significant one-time bequest, $1 million to the organization that has propelled our endowment remarkably, doubled our endowment, and positioned our endowment to provide 22% of funding for our stewardship budget going forward. So that's a huge step forward for the organization to continue that work that staff does and pay for all the things that they need to steward the properties that we've been served in the organization. We do have just a couple of slides here. Again, this is just a quick peek at what makes up our revenue. As you can see here, over $2 million of revenue this year, led by that or those bequests. Again, fabulous support to the organization. On the expense side here, you can see that by far our largest expense to our programs really focus on the work that we need to do to keep our property steward really programmatic focus. And lastly, this is just a breakdown of those programmatic expenses. You can see they're pretty evenly split between stewardship, conservation, agriculture, and our educational programs. And with our merger with Career, educational programs will only grow. So that is a lightning round look at the financial picture of the organization. This is for governance.
Next slide.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? But Jamie, I just want to say that was a really exciting report. Thank you very much. The following directors of the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust, whose 3-year terms are expiring, are nominated for new 3-year terms. Emily Swan, Jamie Tatum, Richard Mercereau. In addition, Ellen Trout Bennett, Tim Paul, Susan Ray Reeves, and Jan Smith joined us as when we merged with Korea, and so they need to be renominated this meeting as well. So I hear a motion to approve those nominations. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Great, thank you. The next exciting thing we have to do is renominate the following officers of the Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust. Emily Swan as president, Margaret Wilson as vice president, Jamie Tatum, treasurer, Bill Ferdinand, secretary. Is there a motion to accept those nominations? There's one over there. She's really excited by this. A second? Over there. Great, all in favor? Opposed? It appears to be unanimous. Thank you very much. Third item of business is 3 members are retiring from the board: Brad Babson, Jeff Nelson, and Avril Bessenden. I just want to say a few words. Brad has been really an instrumental leader for the land trust for many, many years. He was the president for a long time, and then he was the chair of the governance committee for years after that, and he was instrumental in moving us forward on accreditation and many other things that we have done to upgrade the sort of the professionalism of the organization, I would say. So I just really want to appreciate Brad's efforts over the years for the professional. And then Jeff Nelson is also leaving the board, and Jeff has one of those minds. I love Jeff's mind. He thinks about things in detail. He's great to have reading over material to find all the mistakes you have made. And I mean, you need people like that. He's really good at it. I'm not being at all, I know I'm being humorous. I can see Jeff laughing back there. But it's a skill that is really hard to replace. So I just want to appreciate Jeff. Thank you very much, Jeff.
And just to relieve Rawl of the sort of awkwardness of waxing rhapsodic about your wife who's retiring from the I'll wax rhapsodic. This is a tongue twister. Wax rhapsodic about her in this house. So for the past 10 years or so, a central part of our mission, in addition to stewardship and conservation, has been connecting people to the land through education and outreach. And Avril has been a key part of that. Even since before she joined the board, she was a member of our community engagement committee when it was first formed. And when she joined the board, she became chair of that committee and represented land trust at lots of organizations. She's been involved in organizing climate change related activities for the board, and she was part of the joint committee whose work brought to fruition the merger with Korea, which really, whoops, sorry, advances more than anything our mission of connecting people to the nature through education. And although she's leaving the board, she's going to continue as a member of our education committee, and we're so grateful for that. And the same is true of both Brad and Jeff. Jeff will be continuing on our lands committee, and Brad is on our, they're both on, actually all three are on our Korea transition committee. They're still continuing with that until that work is wrapped up. And Brad is on our development committee as well. So we're very happy that these people who, when they move off our board, don't just move away completely. So thank you all, and we're glad you're still on.
Hi, everybody. My name is Christy Patrick, and I am the Director of Development for the Land Trust. I know, maybe it's more exciting. We'll see. So often my job is one of saying please, but tonight my job is to say thank you. Thank you to you. Membership support makes the work of BTLT possible, and we are grateful for and humbled by your steadfast commitment to local conservation, agriculture, and environmental education. It makes my job really, really fun. So I thank you for that. So let me set the stage. In fiscal year 22, the annual fund raised $407,000, then a program high. This past fiscal year 23, which ended on June 30, we raised $429,000 for the annual fund, which was yet another new program high. And our membership numbers increased to 1,168. Perhaps even more remarkable than that, though, are our member retention numbers. The member retention last year was 79%, about 8 out of 10. And interestingly, according to a nationwide fundraising effectiveness project, donor participation with nonprofits in the United States actually waned in 2022, with the donor retention rate slipping to about 45%. So our retention rate of 79% is really unbelievable. Furthermore, our retention of new donors is equally significant. Last year, our new donor retention rate, so that's members who were new to us in fiscal year 22 and then renewed their membership with us in fiscal year 23. 63% of those folks renewed their support, which was an increase of 7%. And in 2022, that retention rate of new donors was about 19%. So again, the loyalty of our membership, you all, is just fantastic. So thank you for that. And as Jamie mentioned earlier, we did have a pretty significant event in fiscal year 23 with our 2 largest bequests in the history of the Land Trust. So super fun seat for me to be in and be involved in that. So thank you. Thank you for your steadfast support of our work, and thank you significantly this past year for when we came to you last spring and said, hey, what do you think about this merger idea, the coming together of CREA and BTLT, you all said, yeah, let's do it. And that is super fun. It has been exhilarating and humbling and exciting to be on the brink of all of the possibilities that come with this merger. Our annual fund goal this year is to raise $475,500. We're off to a solid start. So thank you for those of you that have sent back your remit envelopes and major online donations. Keep an eye out for our Giving It Tuesday initiative, which you'll hear more about later on in the program, at our Pop Club, which is a program at the farmers market that involves kids and then being allowed to choose their own fruits and vegetables has been an unbelievable success this year. We're really excited to continue the funding for that program. So again, thank you. Thank you for making our job so fun. Thank you for your steadfast loyalty of our work, and thanks for being a part of this new beginning that we are embarking on. With that, Caroline, I will leave you up.
So it's great to see so many familiar faces tonight. I'm Caroline Elliott, Interim Executive Director. It's pretty cool to see CREA and BTLT faces mingling together. It's very satisfying. So I'm here to give a brief organizational update on that front. This was a year in which we really felt the support of our community. In March of 2023, we put a big question in front of both CREA and BTLT members. Do you support the merger of our organizations? We received a resounding yes, and it's been full speed ahead ever since. While the merger didn't occur legally until July 1st, which is the beginning of our fiscal year, a lot of time in fiscal year 23 was devoted to evaluating, planning, and then preparing to implement the merger. And as I think Christy said, the implementation continues, and our theme for the year is merging well. We're blessed with a talented and committed staff that has embraced the work of merging well, even as it adds some complexity and responsibilities in the near term. We're motivated by the knowledge that merging well will unleash a wealth of possibilities in the years to come, expanding school and camp programs to new properties and resources such as the farmers market and community garden, growing our community education programs to serve a broader audience, and more. Those possibilities are what inspire us as we focus on merging well. We envision more youth exploring local landscapes, learning by doing, youth and adults learning how their food grows and how to grow it. All of us working together to roll back climate change. We're limited only by our imagination. But for now, there are new systems to learn, member lists to combine, websites to integrate, phone and email systems to merge, and getting comfortable in our new skin with our newly consolidated board and staff. If we do our work well, everything is looking pretty much the same from the outside, and programs are running seamlessly as we integrate our operations and plan for a rich future together. And finally, we're excited about welcoming a new executive director. More news on that front coming in a bit. I should mention that we await action on our application for reaccreditation by the Land Trust Accreditation Commission. In the wake of COVID-related backlogs at the commission, we've been told to expect a decision in February of 2024. If all goes well, and we're confident it will, this will be the third renewal of our accredited status, and we will move to filing renewal applications every 7 years instead of every 5 years, which would be a welcome change. You should feel very confident in our actions as an accredited land trust. Accreditation is a rigorous process. It scrutinizes our most critical systems and processes in the realms of finance, land acquisition, stewardship, internal governments, you name it. Having been deeply involved in BTLT's first and second applications, I can say that I'm very proud to be part of an organization that first willingly subjects itself to this process. Second, continues to subject itself to this process. And third, navigates it successfully. So enough about the organization. Before we take a brief intermission to let you mingle and get some food and beverage, we'd like to show a short video that does a beautiful job of showcasing the many facets of our work. Lydia is going to cue this up and say a few words about it. And I'd like to thank Lydia, who's done all the heavy lifting in putting this gathering together and making all of us look good by organizing us.
Thanks, Carolyn. Yeah, my name is Lydia Coburn. I mostly do communications work for the Land Trust and sometimes plan fun things like this. So thanks for coming. We had a really special thing happen this year. A lovely gentleman named Nolan Lyne, who's somewhere around here. Can you stand up if you're comfortable, Nolan? Thank you. Nolan is a Brunswick resident, a lover of the outdoors, and is really passionate about helping people share meaningful stories. He's a recent graduate of USM in Media Studies. Congrats on graduating recently. And as part of his capstone project, did a bunch of video work for us, including interviews with board and volunteers and staff, and putting together this fun video that kind of outlines a lot of what happened this past year. So please enjoy. After this is over, we are going to take a very short intermission, so please don't go too far. I believe we have more coffee, a few desserts left, the bars in the corner, and restrooms are right around the corner to the right if anyone needs them. It's definitely going to work.
Yeah, zipping right along. I know, it's good. We have more time at the end. Let's take your seats and we'll move on to our presentation about land conservation. Margaret Gerber of the Go for it, Margaret.
Thanks, Margaret. Ready for settling? Thanks, Lydia. Working the magic. Hello, welcome back, everyone. As Emily said, my name is Margaret Gerber. I'm the Director of Conservation, and I'll be giving an update on our land conservation stewardship work over the last year for you all tonight. Now, to date, we have conserved over 3,200 acres in the towns of Brunswick, Topsham, and Bowden. And in this last year, we completed 2 conservation projects, one outside of the fiscal year, but it happened over the summer, so I'll be sharing that with you tonight. So here we go. In December of last year, we were pleased to place a 5-acre conservation easement on open fields and woods that are part of the iconic Pennville landscape. Located just north of Middle Bay and a stone's throw across the road from Pennville Meadow, the property that united neighbors and was responsible for us all being here tonight. The Viet easement was donated by one of those original neighbors and founders of the land trust, Bob Viet. We're grateful to his legacy and work throughout the past 3 decades that has allowed the conservation of iconic open spaces in Pennville and beyond, including now these wonderful 5 acres. Thank you, Liz. We had some great legacy conservation projects happen within this last year, so we should definitely clap for these wonderful people. The land trust was also fortunate to place a trail easement on the 2,800-foot portion of the Cadance River Trail that travels over the Rensenbrink property in August of this year. This trail easement will ensure that this crucial section of the trail is connected to Head of Tide Park and open to the public forever. No stranger to Topsham Conservation, landowner Carla and her late husband John Rensenbrink were also instrumental in key community conservation efforts along the Cadance River over the last few decades, including the conservation of Cadance River Nature Preserve and, of course, the founding and forming of Cadance River Educational Lines. So thank you, Carla. Thank you. And the Land Trust and Board have been very busy working on additional projects that are very exciting that we can't quite tell you about yet, but stay tuned in the coming months because more great land conservation news is coming your way. But turning now to stewardship, it's been yet another busy year. I think I say that every year, but it's true every year. There have been staff changes, the completion of a major trail reroute project, the opportunity to identify regional opportunities to address invasive forest pests, and our ongoing commitment to caring for our conserved lands. Well, first, Sam, stand on up, say hello. This is This is our new stewardship coordinator, Sam Thomason, who joined us just last month, actually. He'll be working with us on a lot of our core stewardship programs, including annual property monitoring, maintaining our trails, and working alongside volunteers. So many of you will soon, I'm sure, get to know Sam, and after presentation, definitely come up to him and say hello and welcome. Now, I think you may have heard about this over the last few years. The Land Trust has been working tirelessly on rerouting the trails at Cadence River Nature Preserve. And it was a busy spring out there where we were able to successfully build a new trail reroute for the Cadence River Trail. And now it is officially reconnected between Cadence River Nature Preserve and Head of Tide Park. So. Staff have been working with the easement landowner and alongside CREA, pre-merger, for the last 5 years to relocate key trail connections out on the preserve that were originally built off of the easement property and were disconnected when the development of the Sycamore Drive Extension neighborhood began in 2018. Given the topography of the property, as I'm sure many of you are aware, it was challenging to find a suitable place to reroute the trails, given the numerous large ravines and steep slopes. So it took many hours in the field of scouting possible trail locations, scrapping those trail locations, talking to our preserve partners, and consulting with numerous trail builders to identify the most feasible location to reroute that trail that only required one large ravine crossing. And as you saw in that wonderful video before the break, we were very fortunate to receive support from Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund and private donors and engage Jed Talbot of OBP Trailworks and his crew, who came out this spring and transported in an impressive amount of building materials onto the site and built a beautiful 40-foot long bridge, which is what you saw in that video and here. Truly amazing to see everything that they brought in, including 40-foot long steel beams, no small feat. And not only did they bring it in, but as you saw, they had to assemble it and then get it to the bottom of that ravine, which again, no small feat, and took a 500-foot long line to move all the materials down. So truly fantastic, something that we could not have done without their help. As you can also see in this photo, they built some beautiful box steps, which are helping hold the soil in place, prevent erosion, and make footing a bit easier for hikers as well. So we could not be more thrilled that this is open to the public and was used by the campers this summer so that people can continue to enjoy the spectacular views along the nearly 3-mile long Cadence River Trail. So thank you once again to Jed. He's probably not here, but I'm also happy to report, which doesn't often start a sentence that then is followed with news of invasive species, that the Land Trust has been busy this year when it comes to invasive species management. The cold and wet weather definitely highlighted for us all the changing climate conditions that are impacting the landscape, and with it opening new doors to the proliferation of invasive species. Given the breadth and scale of invasives currently located in Maine, we spend a lot of time asking ourselves and talking to our partners about how we can best work together to face these challenges. Beginning this spring, staff and volunteers, joined with a wonderful group of Bowdoin students, have been focusing on identifying and mapping hemlock woolly adelgid, an invasive pest that targets hemlock trees and eventually leads to their death, which many of you are probably familiar with. They play a crucial role in forest ecology, and many people, including us, have been asking, what can we do? So in partnership with Freeport Conservation Trust and state entomologists, we applied for and just last week received funding to release an FDA-approved biocontrol called the ladybird beetle on 2 of our properties next year. And these beetles only target hemlock woolly adelgid and will hopefully help us turn the tide over time to keep hemlocks as part of our forest landscape. And there's much that I haven't covered that are wonderful parts of our work, such as monitoring all of our conserved properties. This year, that was 68 properties that we had to monitor, maintaining our 23 miles of trails, supporting hunters and accessing numerous properties of ours, and updating all of our management plans and working with easement landowners to uphold our wonderful accreditation practices. And none of this work would be possible without the help of our fantastic volunteers. We're so lucky to have all of these people supporting us in so many aspects of our stewardship work, many of whom are here tonight. And we just want to say thank you. It certainly makes my job so much more enjoyable and so much more interesting. So thank you all. And now that we're into the programs portion of our presentation, we want to set aside a little time after each programmatic area to just open the floor to a few questions about some of the work that I've just covered. And I'm available afterwards to chat as well. Yes?
I noticed there was still some materials that mine that they used.
Yes.
Will you also be adding something for the soils on the other side of that bridge?
Yes, absolutely. So the question was, there's still materials on site at Cabot River Nature Preserve above where the bridge was built. And yes, those materials are there because additional steps are going to be built in the spring on either side of the ravine so that less erosion happens, it's more stable footing. So we're hoping actually that Jed and his crew will come back and finish those beautiful steps by adding about 30 to 40 more. All right, well, I see a question in the back. We're currently working with the state entomologist to identify those. We are thinking that they will be tar box preserve in Crystal Spring Farm, but due to changing weather conditions, such as the late frost earlier this year, we have to monitor the populations and make sure that there's enough hemlock woolly adelgid for the beetles to thrive on, and that they're located in the best spot so that they don't succumb to freezing temperatures as well. So there'll be more updates on that over the winter and into next spring before the releases actually happen. Yes?
Process of choosing where to put the bridge and any research on what happens with the heavy rains of the spring, any type of water change that might take out all that effort?
Yeah, so when we're planning major bridges like that and less major bridges as well, we definitely look at where the 100-year high water line marks are. You can certainly go out with experienced folks and identify that on the landscape. And because we had so much rain this year, we really got a front seat to that. So the bridge is actually built well above that 100-year flood mark. So we're quite confident that it will last for as long as the soils last. Okay. Oh.
What information can you give us about the ash borer, the ash borer, and its effects on land trust, what the land trust might do?
Yeah, so we also started mapping ash trees on our properties this spring as well. There are some really wonderful groups of researchers out of the University of Maine and led by the Wabanaki that are really spearheading a statewide effort to identify ash trees that are in great shape, particularly black ash, which have cultural significance and uses. And they are going out and monitoring and responding to reports of ash trees and emerald ash borer, as well as doing seed collection. So we started working on mapping those this year as well, and are going to be continuing those efforts, but currently have not gone to quite the same point where there's a action item other than gathering information and sharing it with the folks who are coordinating a statewide effort around that. But there's some great resources I'm happy to share with folks who are interested in learning more. Okay. All right, well, definitely feel free to come up to me after the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. And I'll hand it over to the wonderful Sarah Rogers.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me all right? All right. This is so different than talking to children, I have to say. You're way more intimidating. So hi everyone, my name is Sarah Rogers and I'm the school programs manager for Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust, formerly CREA. So I'm excited to continue inspiring children with jelly-like globs of salamander eggs, and happy to introduce Carrie. Where is Carrie? There she is. So Carrie Truby and I work very closely together on all the school programs and education programs that we're going to talk about today. So please come chat with us later. We could tell inspiring stories about kids, thank you, about kids learning and just creating magic in these outdoor environments. We could talk all night, but I've got probably 6.5 minutes left, so I will not. Lydia, I'm pressing the green button and I don't go. I'm sorry. That will have to come off my 8 minutes. All right, so before I jump into the top 2 bullets, which take about 95% of carrying my time together, just wanted to give a really broad overview of the various school programs we do, just to let you know that we're really engaging with kids of all ages. So one picture I wanted to draw your attention to is these 2 teens right here with a local mentor, Steve Pelletier, who might actually be in the room. This is a great advanced biology class that comes from the Mount Ararat High School weekly, all fall, and we match them up one-on-one or in small groups with a mentor, a local scientist, to do actual field work, collect data, and do a real project. It's a terrific opportunity for them. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we've got 4-year-olds playing in the snow here. So I think one thing that's really neat about our program is we can bring all ages to the Ecology Center and to these different preserves and engage them and connect them with nature. All right, for folks who really love the numbers, here are some quick numbers for CREA field trips. In 2022-23, we had 800 students come and visit us at the Ecology Center. 2,500 hours of outdoor learning, 42 field trips. So if you're not in the field trip world, that number taken out of context might not mean much. But what it means is that we had a field trip every single day from April vacation all the way until the second to last day of school. And when teachers are booking field trips on the last week of school, you know they really want to go. So that's just kind of the numbers. And then getting into what does a field trip look like? What happens is, these are all pictures taken in the past year on our field trips. We have 2nd graders lying on their bellies on the dock there. That's because we learned the hard way when 2nd graders see a turtle, they get really excited and they just walk clear off the dock to try to get the turtle. So now, ever since then, we have a policy of lying on your belly during turtle time. So these kids right now, I wish I had audio for this particular picture, because what you'd see is that all the kids are absolutely silent and all you can hear is frogs croaking and different kinds of frogs. And so what those kids are doing right now is looking for turtles, sunning themselves on logs. They're looking for frogs and listening for frogs, and they're looking for dragonflies. All these kids live in Maine, but lots of kids, believe it or not, have not seen a turtle, have not listened to frogs, have not seen dragonflies. So this is public school, right? Is like the great equalizer, the big leveling field, and we have all these kids suddenly have that opportunity to get out and have the same experience, no matter their family's affinity for the outdoors. So it's a really wonderful thing to be able to provide those sorts of opportunities during the creative field trips. We have a great quote on the bottom, and someone said this during our field trip just 3 weeks ago. We walked down through the trail together, and as soon as we got to the bottom and could see the river, he genuinely just said, "Whoa, this is the first time I ever saw a real river." And he was just so excited. And Karen and I could go on again, really, do find us later, because we get quotes like this all the time. One of my favorites, this is pretty routine, but about a month ago, we were out. And again, as we headed into the woods, you get deeper and deeper, and all of a sudden this kid just spreads his arms up. He's like, "I love nature." And I wish Nolan had been there filming, actually. I'm like, this is amazing. And they're just so genuine. I think you know, you hear a lot about kids on screens and kids not getting outdoors time. And these field trips are a great reminder that when given the opportunity, kids eat it up, they thrive. So yes, just wanted to share some great kid quotes. And then some super pictures. Carrie and I pulled these together because you have our hand pictures. These are all taken on field trips. And it's just a great example of on our field trips what we do. We collect, we touch, we explore, we investigate the natural world. And again, our big picture goal is not to shove information into these kids' little brains. It's to help them get out and experience and discover and connect with the world where they live. Because, you know, as a land trust, when we talk about creating the next generation of stewards, we have to nurture these kids' enjoyment and love of the place that they live. So this kid in the upper left-hand corner with those sheets of mica, I don't know if you guys have done that, but if you peel the mica apart into very thin layers, you can actually see through it. Carrie spends a good 20 minutes with kids on field trips. She says, you know, while we're walking, let's just peel, and they love it. This little turtle hatched during lunch. Carrie and I walked right past it, didn't notice, and some kid on the way back from the cubby, he's like, I think there's a turtle being born. And sure enough, it was, you know, walking to the pond. Again, this was this particular girl's first time ever holding salamander eggs. So these experiences that we can provide to everyone are just so wonderful. And I included this quote, learning to be astonished, in the lower corner there. That's from a Mary Oliver poem, you might recognize it, and it's something that Carla, where'd you go, Carla? I don't know if she's still here, there she is. The Rents and Ranks always brought this quote to the forefront of all our programs at CREA, learning to be astonished. It was sort of a driving, a motto to guide our work. And we definitely still continue that today. So just remembering what we're doing with these kids on all these school programs is helping them learn to love the natural world around them. Oh, spoiler alert. On the next page, I wanted you to have a moment of a field trip with us. So this is what happens in our geology field trip. I take a little pinch of sand, put it on a tray, and kids look through the microscope at the sand. And this is what they sound like. So that like, whoa, goes on not just once, but for every, you can see in the circle here, they go around to each microscope 9 times, every single time. Whoa! So again, if you want to talk about learning to be astonished, I think there's nothing more on the surface boring than a pinch of sand, and kids are just blown away by it, so it's super fun. Just a quick quote we got from a teacher here. My ESOL student, that's English as a second or other language. My ESOL student spoke more and answered more questions than I have ever seen. I was pumped. So again, this is just a great way to level the playing field. Kids who don't thrive in the classroom almost always thrive outside. And then the last bullet point I was going to talk about, our other big program, is curriculum development. So what happened is we have CREA has been working with the schools for decades now, and we're a really trusted partner. So they came to us and said, hey, we're in the middle of redesigning our entire science curriculum at the elementary school level. Would you be willing to partner with us and brainstorm some ideas about how to get more of this type of hands-on learning into the classroom? We're like, yes, this is great. So we've been partnering with 2 teachers at each grade level at elementary school and coming up with ways to bring this learning into the school. So here you have, they're building terrariums to learn about how systems cycle. These kids are going out and collecting bugs with their bug boxes, comparing soil at different places around the school property. So what's magical about this is that it's teacher-led, so it's being done at the school. It doesn't require us. It's teachers who know their own kids, and they're able to impact every single student in Brunswick-Topsham, Boden, and Hartwell. And not just once, like when they come on a field trip to us, it's a 3 hours of amazement. This is every single day if the teachers want to. So every student in K-5, all 115 classrooms, 2,000 kids are getting hands-on science throughout the year. And we've been super excited to partner with these teachers to bring more into their school. So again, that's
So I'm happy to take like 2 questions max. But we're gonna be around later, and we could literally tell stories all night. So are there any quick and easy questions that I can answer super quick? Yes. Yes, actually. Yeah, I think, just to rephrase, have we ever considered bringing the parents involved with the education programs so that we can kind of send these activities home? Is that right? Yeah, it's interesting, the relationship that public schools have with homework right now is always very optional. But these are things that during COVID, we discovered you can send a lot home as an optional activity, and some people really gobbled that up. So yeah, we actually created an entire set of activities that could be done at home with home supplies and pretty much no guidance.
That's true, because a lot of times parents and guardians haven't had the opportunity to do things. So it's hard to, the kids teaching them to do, but having them to come and share, I think that's.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you, and please come find Carrie or I after, and we'll be happy to share more stories. And I'd like to bring up Jamie.
I can't follow that act. She's too good. There's energy and dynamic and children who are happy. My name is Jamie Pacheco. Most of my role focuses around the agricultural programs that BTLT does in our community, alongside Julia, who's kicking around here somewhere, right there, her hand being raised. So I'm going to talk to you about the kind of various buckets of our agricultural work. So I think most of you know that it rained a lot this year. Like it was a gift that did not keep giving, that stopped giving. It kept giving, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, typically farmers and gardeners are really excited about that, but this year it caused some problems. Are in our common good garden where, oh, I'm supposed to swap slides, darn it. Right? Yes. In our common good garden, which is run by a team of really amazing volunteers, our onions got a root fungus. Don't worry, we use them as fresh onions instead of storage onions, so there's always a solution. But generally, the garden, we had a really great season in the community garden. As it turns out, carrots really like rain. So we were able to harvest about 1,500 pounds of food that was given over to Midcoast Hunger Prevention Program for their food security, for food, for the people in our community that we care about. Our annual plant sale did a really wonderful job successfully generating funds to cover the operations of the garden. We had about 3,000 plants for the sale. Almost 2,500 of them came from the propagation beds at the community garden. That is an incredible amount of, those numbers represent an incredible amount of work by this amazing group of volunteers. So I know some of y'all are here. Thank you. Thank you. We were able to finish building 8 more super raised beds at the community garden. And that really just means that we have more spaces in our garden that folks with different degrees of mobility and capabilities have a space that they can garden with us. Let's see. Our community garden work group was revived, which we're really excited to see happen, because that means that the people that the garden was made for, are now get to have a more active, this is hard to maneuver and this is hard. They're able to own that space more and help govern it, you know what I'm saying. We're able to, one of the other things we've really been able to do is continue to use the community garden as a space where we support the agricultural work of other organizations and other community groups. So the Mamitana Japajiaj, which is the Wabanaki-led community garden, is right next to us, and we share resources with them. That continues to move forward. We have Sylvie Mapella and a whole group of, probably need to change slides again. I'm gonna just kind of keep going quickly, sorry. Sylvie Mapella and a whole group of new Mainers had a really great second season at the community garden. So we were able to work with City this year to start her own business, to get insurance, to figure out a way to sell her excess produce at our farmers market and you know, to whomever she wanted to, which for us meant that we got to help this community access culturally appropriate food in an initiative that was led by them, really helping to support helping them support them, you know, finding their own place in our community and having not independence, that's not the right word, but I have notes, but the words are gone, they're gone. Anyway, it's good. We get to help them. It feels wonderful. Thank you for the support that has enabled us to do that work from y'all. We're already thinking about how we can do it better next year. In fact, we are always thinking about how we can do things better next year. So on the kind of the topic of doing things really well, this is the second year in a row we have won Best Market in Maine in a national competition. And Maine's 131st legislature also recognized us for that honor, an accomplishment. So we're going to try and keep earning that honor year over year. So this year, our market has always had, I call them rotating booths, which means vendors that are not with us for the whole season. This year, Julia did a really amazing job of kind of building out the number of vendors that we work with in that way. And this is really important because it lets more small businesses kind of grow their business, pun intended, to grow. They get to test the market for their business. Again, pun intended, we're the last guy. They're killing me. All these jokes like that. Anyway, and for us, that really meant that our market has a larger selection of different types of foods, which means that more of our community can come to our market and they can find the foods that they need each week to eat. So I think it's really amazing. We also implemented a pop club this year, Power Produce. You heard Christy talk about it, but it is a pilot program where children are given their own dollars to spend at the market. It lets them explore the foods of their choosing. It engages them in the local food system. It teaches them about budgeting. I'm not lying. Multiple parents told us that their kids learned about budgeting for this program. So Sarah, Carrie, we're giving you a run for your money in kid education. All right, over here in Agland. We actually had the program be way more successful than we thought it was going to be. We had 330-ish kiddos take part from 219 families. And geez, like, we have all these really beautiful stories of the kids at the farmer's market exploring the foods. And I'm going to tell you one of my favorites tonight. So you have this kiddo that bought carrots from all these different vendors because this kiddo wanted to try, does carrot taste different when it's grown in different soil? I mean, come on, how cool is that? So we turned our community garden into a little science classroom. Again, Sarah, Carrie, we're coming for you. I'm kidding, they're amazing. Let's see, what else did we do at the garden? Now I'm gonna actually bring us down for a minute, but don't worry, I'll bring us back up. This is unfortunately the first year that our SNAP program in about a decade actually had less engagement with the program, which is because SNAP benefits were cut this year. Not because people need less food. It really just means that fewer families are gonna have access to fresh local food, and fewer of our subsidy dollars for local foods are gonna go to our local producers, which means we all have work to do. I have work to do, and it's kind of it's exciting to have work to do. Wish not for this reason, but it's exciting. So don't worry, we're going back up now. I'm going to end my portion of this evening's speaking engagement talking about the Maine Food Council. Maine Food Council is, oh geez, slides. Good. Maine Food Council, short version is they work to strengthen our local food system. BTLT is a founding member of the Food Council, and we are the fiscal agent of some of the really neat projects that the Food Council is involved in. I'm going to talk to you about a few of them. This year, American Food Council finished their second season of their farm labor training program, which was designed to address the farm labor shortage that it's ongoing and long-lived.
But one of the things that's really cool about this program for me is that in doing the outreach to get participants, we worked with the local school systems. And so for the first time, and I don't know how many long, our school systems in this area were talking to their young people about that our local food system provides viable career options for them and that local food is important. So, I mean, I'm jazzed about that. MSC helped the Brunswick Winter Market, which we're in the mill, so that way, implemented SNAP and Maine Harvest Bucks program, which also meant that bumper crop could be used in their market, which is you know what, if you have questions about bumper crop, come find me afterwards. It's a fun program, it's a neat program. And I think the last really important project to note is that they work with, I'm gonna read my script for this one. The Food Council is involved in helping Midcoast Hunger Prevention Program plan, launch, and programmatically build out their sliding scale community kitchen. This program provides much needed rentable, WAFCA certified commercial kitchen space for community groups, small food pantries, value added food, small businesses, and chefs. What that really means is we have a void of processing space in our community for local foods, and this program helps address that, and we got to be part of it. So. That concludes my portion of the speaking. Slides again. That concludes my portion of the speaking engagement. I will take a few questions because I need to see the floor. I'm allowed to take two. But find me afterwards or find Julia. She's better at answering questions than I am. So. This is true. This is true. Jumping ropes were found in our community garden, and probably many of you have found them yourselves. It's considered a widespread problem across the state of Maine. They've actually been in our community since I think 2017. So what we've been doing as an organization is making sure we understand kind of the resources that are out there. We've actually already begun sharing them with our community. So if you look at some of our newsletters, there'll be more coming out. Yeah. That is a great question that we're working on answering. We are, oh gosh, darn. The initial question was about jumping rope being found at the community garden, which yes, that is true. You guys heard that answer. And the second question was whether or not that would impact the plant sale. And my response is, that is a great question that we're working on answering right now. So we've been talking to the state entomologists. We've been, well, actually, those are the primary ones we've been talking to, but been engaged in different learning spaces about this. And we just don't know, but we are going to figure that out in the next month or so because we have to start planning. Other questions? More upbeat questions? No. All right, I'm done. Thank y'all.
So I'm back to say a few words about our events, which are a wonderful way in which we can connect with the community. Last year, we hosted or co-hosted 70 events, serving a wide variety of people and interests. 20 of those events were partnerships with other organizations, and those partnerships are a great way to spread our message to new audiences, get to know our community better, and be efficient with our resources. Some of our partner events last year included 7 development events, thanks to the generosity of business partners Go-Go Refill, Vessel and Vine, Gelato Fiasco, and Spark Cycling, all strong supporters of our mission. And those development events give people an opportunity to support us while making their household more sustainable, enjoying food, or even getting a good workout. So last year, we brought people together for everything from preschooler meetups, guided walks, solstice gatherings, roadside cleanups, yoga on the mall, and the list goes on. We hosted virtual speakers to tap the impressive expertise that exists in our state and spread the knowledge further. Our event topics were wide-ranging. If you wanted to learn about firefly mating habits, bike safety, no-till gardening, how to reduce your use of plastics, local fisheries, how to reduce amphibian mortality on road crossings in the spring, on wet, rainy nights, the Androscoggin River, community solar farms. So if you wanted to learn about any of those things and more, you could satisfy those yearnings with BTLT. If you wanted to get up close and personal with the natural world, our events offered access to birds, fireflies, wildflowers, mushrooms, BTLT properties you've never explored before, bugs and how to ID them. You could also enjoy glowing luminarias at the labyrinth on the winter solstice, or make our community a better place by picking up trash on our Earth Day cleanup. So you could do all that and more with BTLT last year. Our audiences ranged from preschoolers showing up usually late for forest play group, to birders who show up both on time and very early, to LGBTQ folks building community outdoors, to people who just like being outside. In our events, we continue to strive to broaden our reach to new audiences and learn what the community's most pressing needs and wants are within the realm of our mission. Moving forward, we're guided by our recently adopted strategic plan, which prioritizes, among other things, youth education, climate work, advocacy, and inclusion. Next up, just a few words about CREA Camp, one of CREA's signature programs, which as of July 1st, continues as a program of BTLT. If any of you attended summer camp as a child, I'm sure you remember what a wonderful experience it can be. And for those who aren't familiar with CREA Camp, we really have a fantastic summer day camp that runs out of Cadence River Nature Preserve in Topsham. CREA Camp grew in popularity in recent years under the guidance of camp director Jenny Mueller. We were sad to see Jenny leave in August to take a position at Waynfleet, but she leaves behind a well-constructed program for our next camp director, which we're currently in the process of hiring. If you know anyone who would love to be a camp director, let us know. You can see camp by the numbers on the slide. Our camp is licensed by the state, which includes some pretty rigorous standards and an annual site inspection. To accommodate working parents in 2021, we expanded the length of the camp day, but much more important than the numbers really is the experience that our campers have, particularly in the wake of the isolation experienced by youngsters during COVID. The opportunity that we provide for youngsters to be outside all day long, playing with their peers, off screens, is really invaluable. Here we go. Many children today, as Sarah mentioned, do not spend hours outside every day. So camp provides a really unique opportunity to showcase how cool the natural world is. Campers get to see and hold frogs, turtles, and salamanders, play in the mud at Clay Brook. That's one of the most popular activities. Hunt for bugs, look at stuff under microscopes, play beckon and poison dart frog. So much more. One thing that is very evident to anyone spending time at camp is the power of peers to engage their friends in activities that no parent can get them to do. Here's the other cool thing about camp. Transformations happen there. It's the same thing that Sarah was talking about. And I just want to give one example. This year, a wonderful woman, a high school biology teacher, came to give a special program on nature journaling to our older campers. There was a 12-year-old boy who wasn't really particularly interested in nature journaling, but he was cajoled into it by the counselors. So they put one of our owl mounts in front of him and left him to it. When they came back around, our camp director was astonished at how incredible his drawing was. This is a 12-year-old. So he learned that he's a really good artist. And this was news to him. He didn't know it. He spent the rest of the day taking his drawing around saying, "Did you see my owl?" So that's just one example of the magic that can happen at CREA Camp. And this particular youngster happens to be really into bugs and amphibians. And I am confident that he has since been filling journals with drawings of bugs and amphibians. So in closing, I just want to note that our camp capacity has always been limited by the size of the ecology center and its ability to house campers during a thunderstorm. We can accommodate 32 campers, 4 counselors, a camp director, and 4 CITs. That's like they're crammed in there. And one of the many benefits of the merger is the opportunity it has created to expand camp to other campuses in the future. There's huge demand for quality day camp, manifest in the fact that we had 200 slots on our wait list last summer. And we're really excited to think about expanding in the future to meet that need. So any questions about events? Seeing none. I'm gonna turn the mic back to Emily for the last bit of news.
So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Eden Peabody, Nomad, and Wild Goats, and to our staff for sharing their work with you. I hope you've enjoyed this overview of what your land trust does to promote our mission. I think we can all be so proud of what we've accomplished in this very busy year of transition and of what we aspire to do in the years ahead as we continue to realize the full potential of our merger between PREA and BTLT. So the presentation is over, but not the evening. We invite you to stay, eat, drink, meet, greet, meet our staff, ask them questions, go to the merch table. Julia wants me to tell you that we do take credit cards, so you can buy some stuff. And if this stuff all doesn't tempt you to stick around, I hope my last announcement will, because now I have the honor of introducing the Land Trust's next executive director. Now, I think I might get a little weepy on this next part, which is not the next executive director. It's to thank our staff for getting us to this point. They have worked so hard during this period of transition. Caroline Elliott, if I could even say all this. I'm just going to say thank you, staff. I mean, they have worked so hard to get us through the merger. Or we're not even through it yet, but work us merging well. And I'm ruining my whole wonderful speech. But let me try again. Caroline has worked so hard as interim director with grace, flexibility. As the rest of the staff, you could see from these presentations how our work has continued seamlessly, smoothly, and it is all thanks to the great work they've done. So thanks to all of you, staff. Now, I'm ready to introduce our next executive director. May know Steve from his time as Brunswick's Natural Resources Planner, or from his years with the beginning with Habitat Program, or his years at Maine Coast Heritage Trust, or in a number of roles in which he has worked to promote conservation throughout our state. He'll be starting in his new role in a few weeks, and we can't wait. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you, Emily. You know, you told me I had up to a minute, so hopefully I'll not go over that, but I'm thrilled. And, you know, you can see why I'm thrilled. You saw these presentations. I was fortunate enough yesterday to take part in the weekly staff meeting, even though I'm not an employee yet. And I was just blown away by the depth and breadth of community engagement that this staff takes on. Now, I was on the board, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, but the evolution of this organization, thanks to all of you and your continued efforts and your continued support, it's mind-boggling where we've gotten to, where this organization has gotten to. From the educational side, I mean, what really motivated me to apply for this job was I was engaged when I was in 7th grade. That's when my mind switched from being a suburban Ohio, you know, ne'er-do-well to committing my life to conservation, and the merger with Korea and what we're doing for agriculture now, it's just amazing the opportunities. And I think the time is perfect right now for us to get to the next level. We have communities, Topsham, you see Brunswick-Topsham Land Trust in the comprehensive plan 12, 20 times. I don't know. You see new leadership in the town of Brunswick. You see folks in the town of Bodenham aching for preserving hunting access and trail access and maintaining those unfragmented blocks before they're lost. At the same time, we see the Mills administration taking Maine way to the next level with a focus on 30% land conservation initiatives, as well as 30% local food. We're in the perfect position to lead by example here. And it's going to take all of us, and it's going to take engaging our community and returning our focus back to our relationship with the land. And I can't tell you how excited I am. I guess, to close, I will quote my 14-year-old son as a motivation: let's go. I'm thrilled to be here. I just can't wait to start.
Side, that's why I keep going. Even Brother Ryan asked about the left side here. So thank you, Steve. Our work together begins, and thank you all for being here. Don't rush off. There's plenty to eat, drink, and plenty of people to talk to. Thank you so much for coming, and thanks for your support.